The following is an excerpt from the novel Promo Cowboy by Barry Fitzsimmons, read by the author. Chapter 12. Them TV station offices are only a few blocks south, in an old building on 42nd that might have one time been a sweatshop, or a machine works, or maybe a bank. There's big old windows on the sidewalk with the TV station logo etched on them, and they look right inside on all the action. Ain't much going on at this hour, just some young folks working on camera schemes or some such thing on the big stage in the middle. Still, the place has got the smell of something new, something important. Get a thrill I'd do, knowing how I'm part of it. I get me a temporary pass from the security detail, who's about half asleep, and ride one floor up on the escalator to a pair of glass doors with that same logo etched on them. Most of the cable startups I've been on, they'd have that logo printed on a sheet of white legal and taped to the door till the launch is done anyhow. Guess that ain't old Sam Ballott's way. Guess he's got class and vision enough for 20, not to mention guts. Guess I'm right amazed to be working for him, in my fashion. I push on through them doors and end up atop a kind of mezzanine that goes round the whole floor like a balcony, long as a city block almost, with offices and cubes along the outside, and nothing but glass for walls. Looks out, that mezzanine does, over that wide open studio area below, with the stage in the middle and all your requisite equipment peppered about. The place is fairly glowing on account of all that misty kind of city light that filters in from off Times Square. There's fat columns here and there, and a couple of wide stairways leading down to a lot of workstations that are all but empty. Guess it's on account of the time, plus the channel likely ain't fully staffed up just yet. I think, kind of place I might like to stay a while. Course, I'd first have to get an invite. Like Modest John told me, I follow that mezzanine round to the far corner, where the marketing department calls home, and here he is, in the flesh, a tall lad, awful slight and swarthy, with a face just about like a woman's. Kid won't barely meet my eye, and when I reach out in peace and friendship, he makes a face like he ain't sure it's safe. I'm making nod, letting him know how I ain't a biter, and he, real slow-like, takes my hand like it's a length of rope. Course, his grip ain't got no mustard, and he holds on too long, only the deed's done and that's what counts. Through them windows in back of our John, I catch sight of Belinda, deep in her corner office. The room's mostly dark, and that misty light off the square frames her like an angel, proving the kid correct about such things. A screen's flickering away in there, and Belinda's staring at it, intense-like, with a cross look. "She's waiting for you," John says, 'bout in a whisper, and I can tell how this boy's life's been one long struggle after another. I push on through that cracked open door. "Evening, Miss Justice. Hope your day's been a fine one." "Have a seat, Cowboy," she calls out without looking up. I make to close the door, only she stops me, sharp-like. "Leave that open, please." Guess her day ain't been a fine one. I settle into a seat across her desk, where a pile of tapes is stacked up, and even in the low light I see how some of 'em are promos I produced, and some I ain't never had nothing to do with. She pulls one tape out from the deck and shoves another in, and us two sit there looking at that screen like we're in a theater, waiting for the feature to start. First, the slate comes up, which is like an ID tag on a piece of luggage. Every promo's got a slate, and they're all different, only they all say the same thing: what the spot's for, where it was produced, who the producer was. This one says, Willie Schubermiller, and I steel myself. That screen goes dark a few beats, till that promo cuts up from black. First off, there's a cute little 3D version of the TV station logo, and it flips and twists like it's alive just about, through some mighty impressive shots and classic lines from some old movies. There ain't too much voiceover, which shows Willie's restraint, and he's put the whole thing to some peppy period music and some real tasty audio design. 'Fore I know it, that promo's over. 30 seconds of my life's come and gone, and I'm moved and made richer for it. A little piece of me's grown, thanks to that silly spot. Ask me, there ain't no higher praise to pay. Folks can laugh, but us promo producers are all storytellers, like old Alfred Hitchcock. Thing is, Hitch and his brethren get 90 minutes or more to work with, while us in promos have got about 30 seconds. Ain't saying we all hit the mark. There's a lot of bad promos out there, plus a lot of bad movies, but when you see a good one, like this one, it touches the heart. Touches the heart, that promo, I say. I like it too, Belinda says back. Gotta hand it, that Willie hits his share of home runs. Feel better now about him and his work? I would, if all his spots were that good. Now look at this. Belinda shoves in another tape and we sit in that dark like the first time. The slate comes up and there's a little watermark next to Willie's name, only I can't make it out before the screen goes black again. That spot plays. Another 30-second promo for TV station, only it's downright pedestrian. With so darn many cuts and crashes and bangs and flashes, there ain't no room to breathe, except in the holes between the voiceover and the SOT, which are wide enough to drive a truck through. Crap music, lame copy, too many colors, and overall too shaky. Plus, there's a few flash frames and one or two misspelled words on screen. Belinda glares my way when it's over. Well, that's less a promo and more an assault on the senses. Willie couldn't have made that. His name's on it. My forehead makes a crease. Mind backing that tape up to the head? Belinda pushes a button and we watch that awful promo in high-speed reverse till she parks it on the slate. It's got the name of some post house I ain't never heard of, and I heard of 'em all. And at the bottom, in real small type, 2 letters in little brackets. B.B. Belinda says, seeing the same thing. What's that? More like who's that, I say, only I ain't sure she makes the connection. See here, Belinda, I ain't got a right to speak out of school over Willie, only you ought to know. Maybe BB's the one who produced this promo. But Willie's supposed to produce. She makes a face, like it's all going wrong. I knew he'd be trouble. It's what you get with that fella. I figure I'll go out on a limb. Is my work stacking up all right? Oh, right up there, she says, like she's caught off guard. I feel a smile coming on, only she keeps talking. I think Willie has a special talent, though. He sees into the heart of a thing and brings out that extra... She makes with her fingers like she's trapping invisible butterflies. Je ne sais quoi. I bolt upright in my chair. Je ne sais what? She makes a smile. I fall back on French when I have no idea what I'm saying. Italian works too. I don't speak no languages, ma'am. Only it sounds like you think Willie takes his work to the next level. The next level. Her hand slaps the desk. That's it. I look away so I can hide my shame. Been in this business a couple weeks, I have. I turn and eyeball her through the darkness. Guess pretty soon I'll get the hang of it too. Belinda cock tilts her head. Cowboy, you and Willie have different strengths. You're the one who's more consistent and more accessible and more ethical. And Willie, he never, in all the... She stops talking, real abrupt like, then starts over. Anyway, there's this leadership quality I see in you. I make a huff. You say so. Willie's great when you need brilliance, when you need a home run, like you say. But he always brings so much baggage to the table, so much ego. I make a squint. You talk like you've known the man. She looks real quick over her shoulder, like she hears a noise. I've known a few like him. Maybe they make a great pitch, or knock you dead with the early round stuff. But it's not how you start, but how you finish, I say, finishing for her. A fine sentiment it is, full of simple truths. Only most folks in our line can't fathom such wisdom, too provincial for 'em. Anyhow, they don't give out no hardware for integrity. She turns back to me, all serious. But that's your strength. Your willingness to stand up for what you believe, to provide an example. That makes you a leader. Way I see it, producers are all leaders. We're the tip of the spear. Gotta usher these projects through all the twists and turns, all the approvals. Up to us it is to be real gentle, or maybe use a sledgehammer to get them through. And no matter how it all shakes out, it's us who've got to pass the credit or take the blame. She sits up of a sudden. Exactly! Pass the credit or take the blame. That's what a leader does. You say so. I just like lifting good people up or keeping them from being dragged down. Belinda's eyes are on me, only there's just silence between us for a time. There's something wonderful and kind of scary about all that firm eye contact she uses, like she's making up her mind over yours truly. I think how I should maybe take my leave, and how I wish she'd invite me to stay, and it's like my body's acting on its own when I stand up, and in the middle of my standing, she says, "What would you do if you were in my shoes?" Ain't much can be done with a crafty old dog like Willie. Don't envy your position. I don't envy yours. How's that? She looks away from me. I'm putting you in charge of Willie. I go rigid like. Say again? Belinda turns back to me. I want to have Willie report to you, and I want you to be my right hand to run this. Wait a minute! My throat gets tight. I'm a freelance gun. Didn't sign on for no managerial duties. Cowboy, I need your help. You gotta understand. Me and Willie, we got history. Don't lend itself to one having the advantage. Good thing it's your advantage. I could put Willie in charge of you. Either way, I know you'd be the responsible party. She makes that hard stare. This is a real opportunity I'm offering, Cowboy. I make a nod, and my legs get heavy, so much that I've got to lean on that same chair I was just sitting in. I suck in a long, deep breath in through my nose, then another. I surely appreciate your faith, Ms. Justice. Don't give me your answer now. This is a big step. You need to think it over. I don't, ma'am. I look beyond her, out them corner windows facing south and west. In the distance, I can just make the tops of them World Trade Center towers. Shoot, you don't want a fella like me walking these halls, representing your concerns. I'm a freelance cowboy, riding the promo range, working sometimes here and sometimes there. Ain't the type to sit through no meetings or get no corporate logo tattooed on my behind. She slaps that desk one more time. Again with the tattoos. Really, Cowboy, the only tattoo I've got is a little bumblebee, and it's not on my ass. I take me another long, deep inhale. Ma'am, I'm speaking metaphorical like. Course, there ain't no real tattoos. What I'm talking about's the soul. I'll give my time and my sweat, and now and again my blood, only I can't give up no part of my soul, not to no master but the one. She tilts her head like a pup. I'm not asking for your soul. Maybe not now. Only what happens down the road, when moral codes are getting violated, when folks behind the curtain ain't getting a fair shake over unionization or salary, benefits, and overtime. Maybe them same folks are getting laid off, and the ones that are left are doing 2 and 3 jobs at a time for less money, while the darn sales force and all them VPs keep taking the lion's share. Maybe them board members are making cuts and causing a fuss over shareholder interests, when any fool knows they're talking about their own interests. Or some niche channels giving up on the quality fare they made their name on, compromising all they once stood for so they can sell a little more soap. Or some station groups leading the way in news consolidation, cutting their field correspondents and investigative journalists and running local newscasts from some hub that's maybe clear across the country. Or so-called legit news operations putting opinions and editorials on the air and calling it news. Meantime, they ain't telling us the truth about the tomfoolery the government's up to. Maybe it's a big broadcast network, showing shows that ain't age-appropriate during family hours. Programs that lift up the worst of America, of humanity, making sport of defenseless fools, glorifying crime, violence, drugs, pornography, and teenagers having sex. Hell, turning teen sex into a darn competitive sport. I don't want to think about what it's doing to all the young minds in this country, not to mention their souls. And all them industry moguls and spin doctors and programming consultants and research consultants and legal consultants and marketing consultants. Don't get me started on all them. They got a lot of nerve saying how the boundary of morals and taste is moving when it's them who are moving it. I check myself and I look at Belinda. Feels like I'm an open book, it does. And I guess that woman can read me all she wants, if she wants. Only my soul's my possession, and the Lord's. She waits a beat or two, then, quiet-like, says, "You're quite the speechmaker, Cowboy. Hope I ain't offended you none." "No, I admire your candor, and I even agree with you on some points. Guess I'm starting to learn what makes you special." "I ain't special, only I'm real accustomed to this work ethic. Suits me, it does. Ain't seeking no lifestyle changes. Plus, I sure can't let my other clients down. And this whole business with Willie." Right then, Belinda looks at her watch and stands, real abrupt-like. "I'm sorry, Cowboy. You have to go. I've got another meeting to get ready for. It's very important." My brows go up. "This time of the night?" "Yep." She comes round the desk, giving me a shove. "And I haven't even had dinner yet." "Ma'am, that's burning the candle," I say. Meantime, she's pushing me out that door and cross that threshold. "We are launching a network." Belinda and me stop outside her door, and she looks round that empty space. Reckon she's expecting somebody, only there ain't nobody there except us. Guess Modest John's gone home, just like about everybody else. I linger a beat, feeling sort of sorry for the woman. Guess I don't want to leave her all alone, only she looks up at me with them colorful eyes. "You mind?" For the second time in one night, I tell a co-worker, "Get some rest," and I make my way. "Sleep is for everyone else," Belinda calls back. "I'll toss and turn all night, and I hope you do too." "Bet I will," I call out, "mostly on account of what you said about that bumblebee tattoo."